With an empty stomach, Giles tries Spot on some soft food.
So good. They're eating okay. I'm not going to give them the full amount. It'd be good to get some bottle into them as well. It's getting a little bit overzealous, a bit too pushy.
Sure enough, Spot soon gets his strength back. And it's not long before he perks up and begins to take on the family dogs, Caesar and Ruby.
Oh, Caesar's happy because his tail's wagging. He did his whole trying to get him to play thing. Oh, here he goes. He'll do it again now.
I know.
Good boy, Caesar. Good boy.
Once things are all tidied up, Giles takes time to reflect on the impact the cubs are having on conservation.
We're doing exactly what I set out to achieve, in that we are raising significant funds that we're going to put towards what I feel is, you know, the most successful and appropriate tiger conservation program for Sumatran tigers. These cubs are raising more money per day than it costs to run that program every day. So every day that these guys are on display, we are saving the Sumatran tiger in Kerinci Seblat National Park.
With the help of Kerry and son Kynan, he's got a new plan to help raise money to save the wild Sumatran tigers. Tiger cub paw prints.
Glad I don't have to deal with you when you're bigger. You're already bad enough.
Are you ready, Kynan? To help. So these are going to be the little canvases that we get their little paws on. I'm thinking $50 for a paw. Every single last cent will go back into conservation.
Yeah, your paw's getting big.
Second-born Stripe is as vocal as ever.
Okay, you ready, buddy? Come on.
But as usual, Spot takes it all in his stride.
We've got him going now. Is he asleep?
Yes. Done.
Bobby, she's poor. All right.
Better than poo. Yeah, because it's not smelly. At least the water's nice and warm today.
Okay, all yours. Okay. Okay.
Have a shake. Oh, that wasn't a very good one. What are you doing?
If all 40 paw prints are sold, that'll be another $2,000 towards protecting tigers in the wild.
Living alongside tigers for as long as I have means you notice the smallest detail. I have a theory that when a tiger licks its paws, it's preparing to hunt. This could be a good sign. It's been many days now, but I still haven't seen Bagani make a kill. With no tigers to hunt them, Siriski's deer herds have increased in size. But bigger herds mean more eyes to watch out for hunting tigers. And that makes them more difficult to catch. Yet another problem for Bagani. I'm desperate to see her catch something, so I can be sure she's getting enough to eat. These are young deer, and they've never seen a tiger. They might be easier to catch. She's perfectly placed. Has she got one? Yes, at last. I know for sure she is feeding. It's only a small meal, but it gives me great confidence for the future of Bagani and Rajol. Bagani's ready to mate again. She spent all morning calling for Rajol. But so far there's no reply. When he doesn't appear for 3 days, we all join the search. Picking up his trail, following his footprints. We're all worried. And then we find him, dead. Not killed by poachers, but poisoned by a villager protecting his cattle. But Bagani doesn't know her mate is dead. She's still searching for him. She can smell him, but he's gone. She cries for 3 days after his death. We are both heartbroken.
It's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon and Caitlin's been in labour on and off for the last 5 hours. We've just finished a period where there was a couple of hours of not really much activity. She's just getting to the point now where she's having some pretty regular and strong contractions.
Caitlin is entering the advanced stages of labour.
Good girl, well done.
Copy.
Copy. So when she has a contraction, it's starting to emerge.
Good stuff. Don't touch it.
This is the amniotic sac, which means there's a cub on the way.
Copy. The sac just burst around it, and now we can see her face.
Here we go, mate.
Lick it. Come on.
The sensation of Caitlin's licking should trigger the cub's lungs to start working.
Giles, is she licking it? Yeah, she is now. Yeah, go.
It's gasped 3 times, but it's not breathing properly yet.
Copy, Giles. Her licking it will stimulate it to breathe.
Yeah.
Is that
I still feel like we should get in there and give her a hand.
Copy, Giles. Please.
She's licking its face.
yeah, it needs to clear whatever liquid is in the air, in the mouth.
So that is just leave her be for the moment.
It's been 2 minutes, and although the cub's made some weak attempts, it still hasn't started breathing properly.
Yeah.
Big gasps.
It's gasping, but it's not breathing. Okay, it's breathing. Well, there's 2, 3 breaths, 4. Good girl. You did so well.
She did very well. There we go.
See, she knows what to do. This is awesome.
So the cub just made its first ever noise, a little squeal out to Mum. Mum looked surprised, if anything.
It's a beautiful 10-minute-old cub.
That's incredible, isn't it? Man, my heart was in my mouth. It's a good girl. For the first time, Mum, she's doing an amazing job, and it's really hard just to sit back here and let her get on with it. Now she's starting to have contractions in preparation for the second one to arrive.
There's a sac coming out, you can see on this one.
Well done, good girl.
Number 2.
Doing so well. Good girl, well done. Good girl, well done. Oh, this one's coming out kicking and screaming. Good girl.
It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's 2 males, and Caitlin's allowing Giles to share in the moment.
One's up and about, Madam. You're so good. You're so amazing. Good girl.
As the cubs have become bolder at home, Giles thinks it's time for Spot and Stripe to increase their socialization with the adult tigers back at the zoo. At the main tiger compound, Giles and his team are full-time carers for 10 adult tigers, and Spot and Stripe have been gradually exposed to them.
Ah, good boy. Good boy.
Good boy.
Seeing the adult tigers through the glass is one thing, but their next big milestone is to socialize and meet one of the adults in the open air.
There's going to be lots and lots of interesting smells in here with all the other tigers. You know, like the big guys come through here on a regular basis, and it's much, much more of a sensory stimulation for them in here in terms of the smell than just being around the front of the glass. Like the big tigers never go around that side, so. Get used to walking around here, boys.
In just over a month, the cubs will be too big to live at home. And they need to be accepted by the adults for them to live here full time.
He's a little bit nervous, as you would expect. You can see he's smelling all the smells around. There's lots of smells of big predators, other tigers around, so you're going to be a little bit cautious naturally.
In the wild, an unrelated tiger could easily injure the cubs.
How is she?
She's waiting.
And Giles hopes Maneki won't display any threatening behaviors.
Oh, who is it?
So this is Maneki. Well, this is the very, very first time that Maneki's seen any cubs whatsoever.
Tigers communicate using a range of vocalizations. And the most common non-threatening sound they make is called a chuff.
Chuffing is reassuring. So they're chuffing at her, they're chuffing at each other. So it's a reassuring type of noise, but it's also a way of greeting, so that she speaks your language, not like Ruby.
Tigers are one of the few cats in the world to communicate in this way.
These guys are very inquisitive, so their facial expression with their ears is exactly that. Now he's being a bit submissive for the fact that he's putting his ears slightly back, he's getting down low. So that's just being a little bit unsure, if you like. Whereas Maneki, you can see how relaxed she is. She's sat there, she's fairly happy. So Stripe is getting a little bit close. He's being cautious in the way in which he approaches. Good boy. You're brave. Yeah. Look at his face. He's very, very cautious. Like, he wants to go up a bit closer, but he's also a little nervous. But that's to be expected. Like, look at the size of her in comparison to him. So, and she's reacting a little. She doesn't want to be surprised.
The cubs have won over Maneki, and Giles is relieved.
For a very first encounter, you couldn't have asked for it to go any better or any smoother. You know, no one's being aggressive, no one's showing over interest or too much interest. So, and the cubs have coping really well.